right, what's up, my task scale 2488 Neo Hippies? I'm Paige Anderson, and today I'm here doing a reaction video, and of course, noodling on my guitar. This is going to be a reaction to Miss Eboni K. Williams and Miss Iyanla Vanzant's recent interview. It seems that it was supposed to go a certain way, but it went all kinds of left. And everybody's talking about it, so I thought I'd say something about it too. And of course, I'm also writing the song, well, recording the song, so, you know, you can do two things at once. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? Let's get into what they said, and then I'll give you my reaction.
How women need to position ourselves so that we can be in our divinity, so we can have our crowns right, how we can create and not build, when some of us, quite frankly, feel that the men that are available to us, and I'm talking about across the color spectrum, across the age spectrum, trust me, I've done them all, they are not positioned to protect nor provide because of some of the statistics we just talked about. They're not earning the incomes, they're not having the resources, and some of them are not even showing up in the leadership.
Okay, so what we're listening to here is, in my assessment and judgment, I've lived a few decades at this point, these are antiquated approaches to thought and the way that things were going a long time ago. I've lived long enough to know that saying something ain't doing something. All right. And that's why it's complicated for me to get up here and give my opinions on things, because, you know, I know that saying something ain't doing something. Doing something is doing something. But in this case, these words like leaders and what black men need to do and stuff. First off, no one ever says anything about, I met somebody and I think that I have a strong attraction to them. I am infatuated with this person. Every word that comes out of this person's mouth, I just want to eat it up because, you know, I have, you know, met the person that I love and we will work it out. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear that anymore because everybody has gotten caught up in the American dream. And I'm not talking about the white picket fence and the 2.5 children and all of that. I'm talking about the American dream of driving your car while looking in somebody else's car. Sort of like in the Bible where it says in Matthew, you can't take the speck of dust out of somebody else's eye when you got a big log in yours. Well, think of this. Driving your car while looking in somebody else's car is only going to get you in an accident, because at some point you're going to stop looking at the road and you're going to be looking over there long enough for you to crash. And that's what the American dream is. And that's why so many people are crashing and burning, meaning that their credit's gone crazy. Yeah, you're making six figures, but you're so much in debt because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses that you don't even pay attention to your financial situation because, oh, Kim Kardashian has a Bugatti, I gotta get one. You know, this one has a brand new ass, I gotta go get a new ass. This one has a big set of titties, I gotta go get a set. Look, you get caught up in living somebody else's life and you're no longer living yours. What she's talking about here is not men. She's talking about a frame of an idea that came from the late to mid 60s where everybody was looking for leaders. All those leaders either were deleted or they sold out because they realized being a leader was detrimental to your health. So all you have now are people, when you talk about leaders, all you have now are people who have been paid to do a job. All right? So that part of what she's talking about, that's totally moot. Okay? There's nothing there. That's an empty suit. A man who's a leader. A leader of what? Of what? At least the guys back then who were trying to change the way that the United States worked were willing to be deleted to get the job done. You don't have that now. People will sell you out as quickly as they possibly can. This is what goes on in these streets now. Now let's listen to the next thing that she's talking about.
Would you date a bus driver? You. Would you date
If
a
he
bus
owns the
driver?
bus, if he owns
Right.
it, if he owns the bus,
See, that's a problem. That's a problem. But the standards and the criteria that we use to measure men is off for who we are as women and who they are in this society. I would date a bus driver if he loved driving the bus, if he was a man of integrity, if he was good to his mama, if he treated me well, I would date a bus driver.
That's all that needed to be said there because that's the truth. First things first, if you were on the bus and you met a man and he was charismatic enough to gather your attention, sooner or later that bus doesn't mean anything. You want to know more about that person. Once you find out about that person, you might get a new education here. You might find out that instead of he just drives the bus, he bought a house in 2005, right? Right before the collapse of all the banks and stuff, and he was able to work his job on the bus and pay his $180,000 house off. It's 5 bedrooms. It's in a new community. Well, it's in a new community for that time, and it hasn't been ran down. It's still a good community that he bought that house in because at that time, about $185,000 got you in a really nice mid-level community, right? So he's in a good community. That house is paid off. The 2 cars that he has in his garage, they're paid off. He has no children. He has no wife. And the money that he makes since he's paid off his house, he's been having in the bank. I wouldn't call it savings, but I would say that he has money in the bank. When he gets his 2 weeks vacation, he can take a vacation somewhere because he has money to do that. He doesn't have any debts. His credit cards are in check. His credit is in check. He has almost an 800 score. He doesn't own the bus company, but he works for the bus company. He makes about $60,000 a year. He's been making that same $60,000 a year for 10 years, and he's been able to hold most of it because all the bills after he's paid off his house and he's paid off his car, all the bills that he has to dedicate money to is roughly around $10,000, and he makes $60,000. And that's $60,000 after he's paid health insurance that he's getting on his job. He also has a 401k. He doesn't have any investments, any major investments, but he has his money. And he has his retirement set up. No, he doesn't sleep at the Ritz-Carlton when he goes on his vacation. He's in a nice Holiday Inn or somewhere, but he's somewhere where if he went to Paris and he stayed at the least expensive place that you stay at, he still is in Paris. He spent a week there, 2 weeks there, and he came home and went back on that bus. But you wouldn't know that because you're looking at, oh, well, he doesn't make 6 figures. He doesn't eat at this place. He couldn't take me there. He wouldn't take you there because he knows what his money is worth. He understands that I work for this money. So I know what it's worth. I know how much it costs me. I know how many days of work it costs me to take you to a $1,500 a plate restaurant, or both of us, we sat in a restaurant, we had some food and drinks, and it came up to be $1,500. I know how much that cost me because I understand my financial situation. Whereas you are in debt up to your eyeballs. You live somewhere that is way too expensive for you. You're sucking up your $600,000. You speak about black ownership or him owning something, but you work a job just like he's working a job. You just happen to make 6 figures at yours. He's making upper 5 at his, but he doesn't have all the debt that you have. He's not carrying all that financial weight that you're carrying. Your shoes and your purse cost what he would make in a year, but he has all of that, and he owns where he lives and he owns what he drives. And all the bills that he has to account for are the ones that take care of where he lives and what he drives. And that's less than $10,000 in a year. So he has $50,000 that he's sitting on a normal. He's a man, so it's about $6,000 a year in groceries. You're not measuring it because you have the wrong education. The American education is spend it as fast as you get it. It makes no sense for you to date a man who makes $60,000 a year when you're making $125,000 a year. But the truth is, he's holding on to most of his money. He's got $30,000 of his, and you don't have a quarter at the end of the year. And you're in credit card debt up to your eyeballs. There needs to be a new education. There needs to be a thing where, you know what? I met a man, and he's a good guy. I talk with him, and he's charismatic. I like being around him. He smells good. You know what I'm saying? He has a job. He understands his position in the world. No, none of that. How much money you make. When a man knows that all you're thinking about is how much money he makes, he's going to use you for that. Because this is the thing that I used to tell people when I was young. When a woman tells me, because I used to have a lot of lady friends, that he has money, I used to always tell them, I think I'm deep enough in this video now to say it, he has money means that you're fucked more ways than one. Because he's going to fuck you, and then he's going to leave you. Okay? Because he already knows what you're there for. You get it? You're playing a game and you don't understand the rules of engagement for the game because you have not sat down and really thought this through on what you're actually looking for. You're just looking for what you saw on TV, what you saw on your phone, what you saw coming down from the internet. You're not paying attention to life and the way that life works. Most people are not paying attention. It's like you can sit down with someone and make a plan with them, but you didn't write it down. So, selective memory is a superpower. That person will forget everything y'all talked about and tell you that y'all never spoke about it. But you're sitting there saying just because you don't remember it doesn't mean that we didn't speak about it. It's just it wasn't important enough for you to remember it. And I didn't write it down. I didn't leave a paper trail so that when you say something crazy or when you say that we didn't talk about this, I have a paper trail that I can pull out and say, look, this is what we spoke about. This, you and I both signed off on that. It's just, it didn't happen in 25 minutes, so therefore you forgot about it. People don't sit down and think about what they're saying. And in a future video, probably tomorrow, I'll talk about how she's, instead of standing 10 toes down on what she said, she came back with this black ownership and all this bullshit, which means that you didn't go and think about what you were saying. What you did was you went back to find a way that you can make what you say right. Because in my life, I live like this. I don't want to be right. I just want to be heard. If you heard me and you thought anything I said had any validity to it, thank you. I don't need to be right. Because your man has been shot and I've been flatlined twice. I know that you come here to die for sure. So I don't sit down and argue about bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I have my guitar in my hand. I have my stump box on the floor and a couple drum machines around me and some sounds that I can get with, and I make me a song. I don't do anything other than that. I don't have no time to argue with people. I pay attention to who I'm fucking with, and I fuck with them better. All right? But anyway, I'll see you guys on the next video, and I hope you guys come back and listen to your man talk some crap. The next video you'll see is of me finishing up this song. Because in all of this, I still, like my musical father, believe that love is more important than how much cash you got. Because me and you can sit down and we can talk about something and we can get something going where we know where we're going and why we're hustling as hard as we're hustling, and we can write it down so that when we got it, we scratch it off because we know what we came for. The world that people live in now, they don't know what they came for. All they talk about is grinding. Okay, what happens after all the grinding? What did you grind for? Because look like you grind all day and then you got the check, and before you even got the check, all that money was spent. It's worthless. But y'all have a good one, and I'll see you on the next one.